There were big changes to the JR Pass, and now the question remains, is the JR Pass still worth it? With all the changes to the JR Pass, it's not quite the must-have pass that it once was. Today, we'll take a look at the JR Pass and see if it's right for you.
The next station is Tokyo.
Hey guys, Hoang here, and today we are going to dive into the pros and cons of the JR Pass so that you can figure out if you should get it or not. We'll also go through things like how to actually redeem and use the JR Pass, along with everything that you need to know to get around Japan smoothly. Let's dive into it. First off, what is the JR Pass? The JR Pass, or the Japan Rail Pass, is a multi-day pass for foreign visitors that provides unlimited travel on most Japan railway lines, also known as JR lines. This includes the Shinkansen, or bullet train. The pass has three versions: the 7-day, 14-day, and 21-day options. These days are consecutive, meaning that you can't use the first 4 days of a 7-day pass and save the remaining 3 days to use later. Now, unlimited JR train rides, that sounds pretty good. Who wouldn't want that? But let's look at the prices. The JR Pass had a major increase at the end of 2023, and that brought prices up by around 60%, which is insane. The regular 7-day pass, which used to be 29,650 yen, is now 50,000 yen, or roughly $340 US. The 14-day pass is up from 47,250 yen to 80,000 yen, or roughly $545 US, and the 21-day pass is up from 60,450 yen to 100,000 yen, or roughly $680 US at the time of making this video. The price increases have changed the game around the JR Pass, and it isn't that cheap anymore. So that's why it's worth looking into if this is worth it for your specific trip or not. Now, first, let's talk about acquiring the Japan Rail Pass and how to use it. So to get a Japan Rail Pass, you can purchase it online or in person. There used to be possible discounts on the Japan Rail Pass before the 2023 change, depending on when you booked, but now pricing is standardized. So if you buy it online versus in person, it will be the same. Some sites sell it based on Japanese yen, while some will sell it already converted to another currency like US dollars, which can be a bit more expensive depending on the live conversion rate. For example, on jrailpass.com, the 7-day base pass is $355 US. On jrpass.com, it is $357, and on Klook, it is $339.25, which is the cheapest of all of these sites. Links to all of them below. Also, something to know is that children ages 6 through 11 get a 50% discount off of the JR Pass, and any kids under the age of 6 ride free as long as they don't take up a seat. So that is great to know if you are traveling with kids, that you won't have to pay the full amount for them. Booking through the official site does have one benefit, and that is it allows you to reserve seats in advance for the Shinkansen bullet train. While with the other options, you won't be able to do it online, but instead you can reserve seats at the Japan Rail Service Desk, which we will talk more about in a bit. Most people don't have any issues reserving trains in person, even last minute, as there are typically seats available. But if you are going during peak seasons or you need a very specific train time, it may be beneficial to book in advance. This does not apply to people purchasing tickets without using the Japan Rail Pass, as you can reserve seats with normal tickets, even with third-party websites like Klook. In fact, for me personally, I found it much easier to book my Shinkansen tickets through Klook versus the official site, which kind of gave me a headache when I was trying to book it. Now, what happens after you purchase a pass? Well, you will get mailed a physical JR Pass voucher, which is not the actual Japan Rail Pass. Once you arrive in Japan, you will go to the Japan Rail office where you will present your voucher and your passport to get your actual Japan Rail Pass. The thing about the Japan Rail Pass is that it looks somewhat like a normal ticket, so be careful with it and don't throw it out. When you activate your Japan Rail Pass, it will be active starting on whatever day you select. So say you land in Japan at 5 p.m. local time on September 14th and you go and activate your pass then. Looking at a calendar, you may think that the pass would be active for 7 days, meaning from September 14th to September 21st at 5 p.m. But in actuality, a 7-day pass will be active from September 14th to September 20th because it will be active starting on whatever day you select and include the entire day. So if you activate in the evening, you sort of lose all of the morning and afternoon of that day for the pass. It won't run through September 21st at 5 p.m., but instead end as soon as the day ends on September 20th at midnight. This is something to consider depending on where you are landing, as the Japan Rail Pass does include the Narita Express train from Narita Airport to Tokyo, but since many flights to Japan land later in the day or even late into the evening, you may lose a day if you activate it to use the Narita Express. To get around this, you could just purchase a ticket for the Narita Express without activating your Japan Rail Pass. Also, something to keep in mind is that the Japan Rail service centers do close around 9 or 10 p.m. depending on the airport that you are arriving at. So if you are arriving late, you may not be able to exchange it there and may have to exchange it at a station office in the city. On that note, let's talk about actually using the pass and break down the costs to see if it's worth it for you. To use a pass, you use it the same way you would a normal train ticket. You go to the ticket gate and insert the Japan Rail Pass and it will pop out on the other side and you walk through and grab it. And remember to grab the pass because you will use this for the duration of the time of your pass. Now, I mentioned before that you can take the Narita Express or next train from Narita to Tokyo with the Japan Rail Pass. So let's start keeping track of how much we're spending on transportation to see how much we can save on our hypothetical Japan trip. I'll walk you through this whole hypothetical Japan trip and give you prices of each part of the trip to give you an idea of how much trains cost in Japan. Got the counter? All right, let's go. The Narita Express train costs roughly 3,250 yen each way depending on your final destination. If you buy a round-trip ticket, it will cost you 5,000 yen flat, so that can save you a bit of money. But for our trip here, we will use all of the highest values that we can get unless it's completely unreasonable. So 3,250 yen gets us from Narita to Shinjuku. This begins day 1 of our trip, and once we arrive in Shinjuku, let's say we want to go to the Sensoji Temple in Asakusa, so we take the train there, and the price varies a little bit, but again, we will choose the most expensive price for our trip, which in this case is 360 yen. There is no JR station here, so if you had the Japan Rail Pass, you will take it as far as you could go and then transfer to another train where you will have to buy another train ticket. But in our case, we're just using the highest possible price. After we finish up in Asakusa, we'll also take the same train back, so another 360 yen. That's an example of a possible day 1 with landing in Japan and going to a few places inside Tokyo, but now let's go outside of Tokyo along the Golden Route of Japan. On day 2 of our trip, we take the train from Shinjuku to Tokyo Station so that we can take the bullet train. Again, we'll use the most expensive route, which actually takes you next to Tokyo Station and makes you walk there as opposed to taking you directly to Tokyo Station. So you wouldn't do this in reality, but anyway, the most expensive option is 290 yen. After you get there, you take the Shinkansen or bullet train to Kyoto Station, which takes you a bit over over 2 hours to get there using the fastest train. This costs you 13,320 yen. So now we're finally adding something meaningful to our counter here. 13,320 yen is roughly around $90 at the time of making this video. So now we are up to 17,580 yen out of 50,000 yen, making pretty good progress for just being on day 2. So now you're in Kyoto Station and you want to go see the Arashiyama Bamboo Forest. So again, we take the most expensive route. Ignoring the direct JR line route, we take the non-JR trains, which cost a total of 510 yen. Let's use 510 yen as the cost of each one of our trips in Kyoto, because on average, it will cost you much less than that to use the trains and buses efficiently. So this will overestimate the cost. Then after we're done in the Arashiyama area, we'll take a train from there to the Nishiki market area for 510 yen, which is a pretty great place to stay because it's along a few train lines. And that also gives us plenty to do in the evening and shop around. Alright, now day 3. Let's say that we take the trains and buses around Kyoto and make a trip to the Fushimi Inari Shrine, Kiyomizu-dera, Nijo Castle, Kinkakuji Temple, and then back to the Nishiki market area. That's a total of 5 trips, adding 2,550 yen to our total for day 3, which is a bit of an aggressive traveling day. So now on to day 4, where we are going to make our way to Osaka from Kyoto. So we go ahead and we take the train back to Kyoto Station, which is another 510 yen, and then we take the bullet train, which was what added a lot to our counter before. So it should add more, right? Well, the trains are just 580 yen, with the most expensive being 1,670 yen, which is not nearly as expensive as the Tokyo to Kyoto route that we took before, but that's 1,670 yen added to our total. Once in Osaka, taking the train to the Dotonbori area costs us 240 yen, but I found a much worse route that will cost us 390 yen. So for Osaka, we'll use 390 as our travel baseline. From Dotonbori, let's visit the Osaka Castle, and then the Suitankaku Tower, and then back to Dotonbori. So 4 more trips. Day 5, we take the train to Osaka Station for another 390 yen, and then we go to Kobe. So again, taking the most expensive route, which is 1,550 yen. Then in Kobe, if you take the train to go get some Kobe beef and then take the train back to the station using our Osaka rate of 390, that adds another 780 yen to our count. We're using the 390 number from Osaka because in Kobe, it's actually smaller and the numbers are a bit cheaper, but we're just going to overestimate here. From Kobe, we make our way to Himeji, and we are going to take the most expensive route, which is 2,700 yen. Again, why would you choose this? I don't know, but let's work with it. Once in Himeji, if you go from the station to the Himeji City Science Museum, which costs 320 yen, then to Himeji Castle, then the Tigara Yamahiwa Park, and find a spot for dinner before going to your hotel, that adds a total of 5 trips at 320 yen each, for a total of 1,600 yen added to our total. Now, starting day 6, we take the Shinkansen to get back to Tokyo, which in our case will cost 15,400 yen, which adds quite a bit to our counter. And then, using our Tokyo number from earlier of 360 yen per trip, say we go from Tokyo Station to Roppongi, and then to Shibuya, and then Ginza. That's 3 trips for a total of 1,080 yen. Now onto our final day 7, where we make our way back to Narita Airport by taking the train, which costs 3,250 yen. So that brings us to a total of 51,640 yen, which in this hypothetical scenario would save us money with the Japan Rail Pass. Now, all of this has a few major issues. First, we used the highest possible prices for each route, which as you saw, some are over double the prices of cheaper, more efficient routes, so you wouldn't take these. This means that the total price will definitely be lower. Second, you can tell how aggressive this itinerary is for 1 week, putting tons of locations in per day and doing a lot of traveling. So this in and of itself wouldn't be very enjoyable. Third, the JR lines don't run through all of these locations, so you may end up paying out of pocket for extra train rides, such as the example that we had in day 1 here, where you are going from Shinjuku to Asakusa, and there is no JR train station there, so you have to transfer and buy a train ticket. Now, the conclusion here is for the average traveler, odds are you will not be able to save money using the Japan Rail Pass. However, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't still consider the Japan Rail Pass, because there are a few scenarios where you can in fact still save money using the Japan Rail Pass. You'll notice the most expensive things we added to our itinerary are the long distance Shinkansen train tickets. If you are going farther than Osaka to say Hiroshima, then that ticket costs $129.14 on Klook, or roughly 19,000 yen. And if you do a round trip, that would already bring you close to the 7-day Japan Rail Pass for a price of 50,000 yen. So the farther you travel and the more Shinkansen rides you take, it will add up. But as far as I've been able to figure out, this is the only way of making it worth it, by taking really far Shinkansen rides, or a lot of them. If you are just doing Tokyo, Osaka, and Kyoto, it is pretty hard to hit that number in a week. However, the longer you stay, it does get a bit easier, as the 14-day and 21-day passes are cheaper per day than the 7-day pass. But again, that does mean that you still have to do a lot of long distance traveling, because as you may have noticed, in every city we stopped in, each individual train or bus ticket going around the city only costs a few hundred yen. And remember, in our example, I used the highest numbers that we could find. On average, the cost of a train or bus ride is usually around 150 to 300 yen, which is only $1 or $2 per ride. So it's fairly affordable. So even if you are doing a ton of local train and bus rides in the city, they really don't add up to that much in the long run. So at this point, you are either a long distance traveler or you are skipping the Japan Rail Pass entirely. Are there any alternatives? Yes, actually. There are Japan regional passes, which allow you to use all the JR lines in a given region for a much cheaper cost than the full JR Rail Pass. But this really depends on how much you are traveling and how much you are doing in a specific region, and this mainly comes down to Shinkansen usage, as local trains won't contribute too much to saving money with these passes either. The conclusion is this: yes, you can still save money with the new updated Japan Rail Pass prices. However, if you are not traveling long distances on the Shinkansen or spending at least around $300 per week on Shinkansen tickets, odds are you won't be saving money. So you will have to do the calculations to see if your specific itinerary will be cheaper with the Japan Rail Pass or buying individual tickets. But the 2023 price increase has made the Japan Rail Pass much less valuable than it once was. What do you think? Is the Japan Rail Pass still worth it? Let me know in the comments section down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.